A federal appeals court ruled yesterday to uphold the ban on polygamous marriages, to the disappointment of the cast of the reality show Sister Wives. So Sister Wives is a show on TLC. It's a reality show that's supposed to show how healthy polygamous marriages can be, or how they're just as healthy as monogamous ones. Right. We actually have a clip of their show if you want to take a quick look here.
I think we're normal, and I go out and I'm like, oh yeah, I can't tell everybody about my normal family.
If you're good with one marriage, they figure you'll be good with two. I hope they think I'll be good with four.
Yeah, so that's a little teaser from their show. It follows Kody Brown and his 4 wives and the 17 kids that they have between them. And so what's interesting, this appeals court decision yesterday is coming on the heels of a decision that was made in 2013. It was a decision made in Utah that removed the threat of arrest or criminalization for polygamous marriages. So the district judge in charge of that decision, this guy Clark Wadhoops, he had found that the threat of prosecution is what drove the Browns out of the state of Utah. They later went to Las Vegas, and he said that the Utah's bigamy laws violated religious freedom and the right to privacy. He did, however, leave the provision in there that said that legally people can only get one marriage license. Any other marriages are spiritual in nature. So, but then the Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes, he appealed that decision because he said, generally speaking, Utah does not have a history of actually prosecuting consenting adults in polygamous marriages, and rather that the laws in place for so that people that are convicted of, for example, like assault or keeping wives that are well underage. For example, he talks about Warren Jeffs, who was he was busted for assaulting several of his underage wives. So this decision yesterday basically upheld that said that the Browns, they're not able to sue the state of Utah because they have not had any actual fear of prosecution happening.
Is that very fine line? Where do you draw that line? Are you violating someone's freedom, or are they doing something that's just fucking weird and should stop?
Yeah.
So it's a fine line, right, Joya? And at the same time, polygamy is something that the Mormons have not been doing for a very long time, over 100 years.
Not been doing, and yet there's still 30,000 polygamists in Utah.
See, that's the thing, though. And then they do it, saying that, I'll have one real wife, and then you have all your spiritual wives, right? But it's all the same thing. So they pretend like they're not doing it, but there are these certain, First off, before I get into this one thing that I'm about to say, we have to make it clear that not every Mormon couple here is, having, 10 wives or whatever and having 300 children.
Of course.
This is, a very select few. And usually it's the fundamentalists, let's say, okay, who are engaging in this kind of thing. So what I was going to say is basically they pretend like they're not doing it anymore, but it's still definitely going on. 30,000 strong, these fundamentalists in Utah alone. So it's...
Well, and I think, it's important for us to point out that, yes, I really have no issue with consenting adults doing whatever they want to. On a personal level, I'm like, that's whack. It's always so bogus that, it's the dude that gets to have however many wives, and these women are just sort of like, I'll just wait my turn. That's the element that always weirds me out. But again, I think it's at least very important to keep those laws on the books so that, women and children that are exploited, they can use those laws to protect them, but not necessarily, criminalize people that are just doing things. So according to Jonathan Turley, who's the lawyer for the Browns, he had this to say after the decision. He said, the underlying rights of religious freedom and free speech are certainly too great to abandon after prevailing below in this case. And it's still unclear as to whether or not the Browns are going to appeal to the United States Supreme Court and see if they want to take this further. Ultimately, I think it's, the fact that they're not being prosecuted, they don't have any fear of being prosecuted, they should just sort of leave it alone, in my opinion. But
well, technically, right, are they breaking the law? He probably has his one marriage license with his main chick.
That's right, he does. He has one, and then the other 3 are spiritual.
Right, side pieces. Look, it's weird to us because this doesn't really fit in with our culture, but I'm with you. I think it's weird. I don't know why any woman would agree to something like that. But again, that's that's something that's cultural, that this happens, and it has been happening throughout time, throughout history, all around the world, Africa, the Middle East, America in 2016 as well, just on a smaller scale, but still.
And it's still just the tail end of the Mormon church legacy, but they banned it as of 1890. So I guess they're still holding on. So yesterday ruled against the Brown families, who apparently they're not allowed to share the love.